Barack Obama was in Wisconsin today, and he said something very, very important. And I want you to listen to this as we'll discuss it. Cut 16, go.
Making this country better has never been easy. It's always been a fight. For every 2 steps of progressive change forward, a lot of times we take 1 step back in conservative retrenchment. That's what happens. That's been the pattern. Every time we pull ourselves closer to our founding ideals, that all of us are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, whenever we start moving in that direction, the status quo pushes back. You win the right to form a union, then people try to bust your union. You fight and win a higher minimum wage, and then Congress just doesn't raise it for a decade. You win the right to vote, people try to make it hard for you to vote.
Nobody's trying to make it hard for citizens to vote. A lot of the hate and poison and division as a result of Barack Obama and propaganda like that. 8 years of that, 8 years of, or not 8 years, but Eric Holder. And you hear other people from his administration, Hillary Clinton. They've created these wedge issues. They've done a hell of a job of turning this country inside out and upside down. Fundamental transformation. But what he's saying actually was stolen from Franklin Roosevelt in a famous speech that he gave, that I made famous, I guess, from the 1920s. He said, we have these respites, I'm paraphrasing. We progressives, we advance, but we don't hold office long enough to do the things that we have to do. And so they figured out what they need to do is create this permanent bureaucracy and take over the courts, which is something Woodrow Wilson pushed for. Now, our founding fathers are used in very diabolical ways by leftists like Barack Obama. On the one hand, they condemn them, saying they owned slaves. Some did, some didn't. On the other hand, they use the Declaration of Independence, and less so, but sometimes the Constitution, to claim that what they're advancing is what the founders and the framers actually intended. And so, if you really don't train your mind to understand this and follow this, it can be alluring. Or it can be confounding, but it can also be alluring. We progressives take 2 steps forward, and these conservatives pull us back a step. And progressivism is the way forward, you see. And progressivism is what really the framers of the Constitution intended, and the Declaration of Independence. Nothing could be further from the truth. He knows it, but he lies. Unalienable rights has nothing to do with government. It has to do with the civil society. There was no federal government. There was no national government when the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Unalienable rights. Natural rights. Progressivism rejects all this. He knows that. He's an Alinskyite. He knows where Woodrow Wilson stood and Franklin Roosevelt stood. He knows all about John Dewey and Henry Crowley and all the rest that I've written about at some length. He knows Marx well and Engels well and Hegel well. And he knows that in order to create this utopia, which is really hell on earth, you have to destroy these institutions. You have to destroy the institutions. Unalienable rights has nothing to do with the progressive agenda. Pro-union, anti-union, minimum wage, no minimum wage, health care, no health care, has nothing to do with that. It is a recognition that we are human beings, that we are individuals, and we have the right to be free. And we're supposed to be treated equally under the law. Nothing to do with economic outcomes. or minimum wage or the laundry list of the left-wing agenda. And Obama in this, just so you understand modern history, Obama in this is regurgitating things that have been said by Theodore Roosevelt in his new nationalism speech, Woodrow Wilson in multiple speeches that he gave, and all of them attack the Declaration of Independence or turn it inside out, as Obama did. What he's doing here isn't particularly smart. He's just stealing the propaganda of the past, 100 years old, more. They wrap themselves in the Declaration of Independence by rewriting it. I don't have enough time to get into this again. If you read Rediscovering Americanism and the Tyranny of Progressivism, you'll know exactly what's going on here, as I said when I wrote it. It's over a year old. I'm not hawking it. I'm just saying if you want to understand it, it's right there. He wasn't done. Cut 17, go.
The powerful and the privileged fight hard to keep what they got.
I don't know what that means. First of all, let's use English. To keep what they got. You mean to keep what they have. The powerful and the privileged fight hard to keep what they got. What does that mean? Who are the powerful? Corporate executives or senators and congressmen? Professors who indoctrinate their students? Media personalities? Who are the powerful exactly? George Soros? Steyer? They want to keep what they got. What does that mean, they want to keep what they got? If you earn something legitimately, by your smarts, by your hard work, whatever, of course you want to keep what you got. Why shouldn't you? The most powerful people in this country are the people who run government. Because they have something that you do not have in the private sector. You know what that is, Mr. Producer? The law. The law. They control the law. They can punish people. They can fine people. They can penalize people. They can put people in prison. That's why the communists, the socialists, the fascists, they want to control the government. They don't want to control this company or that company or this building or that building. They want the government. They want to control the government. Your Constitution, which he claims to support and does not, doesn't control the individual. It doesn't control business. It doesn't control the private sector. It doesn't control private property. It's intended to control government. Because government's where the power is. Government's where the power is. Go ahead.
The powerful and the privileged fight hard to keep what they got.
And by the way, is this divisive rhetoric? If somebody really believes what Obama's saying, that this is what's going on, that these people are privileged, they're powerful, they've taken, they get to keep what they've got, or if they believe what Scarborough says and the others say and compare Trump to Hitler and everything, doesn't that incite people? Go ahead.
They'll try to make you angry and cynical and distracted, and they'll try to exploit our history of racial division or ethnic division or religious division.
Gee whiz, who does that? Here we have the demagogue pointing fingers at others, and that's what demagogues do. Go ahead.
They'll try to pit us against one another. They'll tell you that, oh, no, everything would be okay if it just weren't for those folks who don't look like you.
Oh, see? This is real hate speech. Is that what people say? This really is digging into hatred and animosity and jealousies. He says, they'll use history and racial division. Look at this. They'll use racial division or ethnic division or religious division. What did he just do? It's incredible. He's talking to a largely African-American audience. He knows exactly what he's doing. You won't hear CNN or MSNBC, all those hosts and anchors, all their guests, You won't hear them play this and condemn Obama for his race baiting, his hate baiting. You won't hear a damn thing about this. Other than the fact you listen to my program, go ahead.
They'll say whatever it takes to keep their stuff, to maintain their privileges, even if it's not fair. Especially when it's not fair. They like
now listen to this. To emphasize. They will say whatever it takes to keep their stuff, to maintain their privileges, even if it's not fair, especially if it's not fair. This is the man, more than any man who's held the presidency in recent times, who has undermined the unity of this country. Not Trump. Obama. Not Trump. Obama. Go ahead.
Even when it hurts the country, even when it puts people at risk. It's a cynical kind of politics, but frankly, sometimes it works.
Incredible. Incredible. The guy with Ayers and Dorn, Khalidi, the guy who let a terrorist out of prison, the guy who put an embassy in Cuba, the guy who gave tens of billions of dollars to the terrorist regime in Iran. Unbelievable. The things he says about this country, the things he says about his fellow citizens. This is nothing short of Marxist propaganda, while he's raking in tens of millions. And by the way, did you see all the conflict going on about his library? How he's trying to impose his library on a lower middle class neighborhood? And they've taken him to court? You seen any stories on that? I'll bet you've seen damn few. Never liked this guy. Never, ever liked him. We'll be right back. Sean, Vancouver, Washington, the great KMAX. Go.
Well, first of all, Mark, it's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
But, you know, Obama, all through his presidency, did exactly what he just did.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the UN and slammed the U.S. when he knew that this guy was innocent. He would do speeches and say, oh, well, some people will say this, and it ends up being some little obscure comment in some paper that nobody reads, and that's supposed to speak for millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
It just a long pattern at ridiculous.
What did Obama do to try and unite the American people? Anything?
Oh,
I can't think of a single thing. No.
No. White people are racist. We'll start there. As soon as we can feel.
Well, and it's not just that. Black people who don't agree with him obviously are they're not right. You know. Well, all right, my friend. Thanks for your call. I mean, what he's pushing here is an ideology, and it's whatever works. You can use race, you can use income, you can use whatever you need to use. Worker against employer. You listen to Obama. It sounds like we haven't made any progress whatsoever in this society, and yet it is the most magnificent society ever established by human beings on the face of the earth. Period. So why would we copy the failed societies? It's easy to steal people's things, Mr. Obama. It's easy to redistribute people's things, Mr. Obama. That's what tyrants do all over the world. What's hard is to uphold liberty, to limit the power of government, and to comply with the Constitution.